Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to Royal Sussex Live. Welcome, one and all. Let me see who was here first. Cho DeCisi was here first. Elaine Parker, Manello, Gwendolyn Daniels, Jennifer Clark, Miranda Rios, Fancy Fancy. Okay. Let me scroll down some here. Hey, Black Queen. Connie Bomber! Hey, Connie Bomber. Let me see. Lydia Washington is here. I'm going to go all the way to see who the last person was. Mad World. Thank you so much for being here. Okay. As per usual, I was working up to the very last second, and I don't think we're going to be on long today. I don't have that many slides. However, let me get that loaded so we can start. I don't need that. Yeah, I don't need that. Okay. Slide. Okay, there we go. And wunderbar. There it is. Wonderful. Oh man, I forgot the wait, I want to include that. Let me do that again. Hope everybody's having a good day. It's been weird, no doubt, but we will get to that. Okay, let me try that one more time. Remove that and add it back again. Let me see here. Ha! Okay, got it. All right, so let me see here. Oh, okay, I didn't mean to do that. Hi, Joan Garcia. And Fu. All right, very good, very good. All right. I don't want to fight no more. Please. I don't care who's wrong or right. I don't really want to fight no more because it's too much pressure. What was song that? That was Tina Turner. I can't sleep at night. I don't really want to fight no more because it's time for letting go. There we go. All right, got it. So, who do you believe? That is an easy question for the squaddies to answer. Who do you believe? Of course, I am Team Sussex all the way. And I was thinking about it. And finally, things, I had I think is what alcoholics refer to as a moment of clarity. I heard that in a movie one time. I believe it was Samuel L. Jackson who said that sometimes people who struggle with alcoholism have what they refer to as a moment of clarity. And so, um, although alcohol is not really my thing, I'm more of a carbaholic. I love carbs. I think it's that quick energy fix I get. Um, I would say that my moment of clarity came from an unlikely source. It would be too weird to try to explain it to you, but I guess the easy route would be there was there's a YouTube, not a YouTube, well, he does shorts and I guess he does TikToks. And this kid, he does these incredibly short, you know, history, science videos that is, did you ever wonder type of videos, right? And he said, do you ever wonder why um, cable news networks, how did he put it? He said, why does the cable, he said, do you ever wonder why you can't stop watching cable news? I already knew the answer, but I needed to hear someone else say it to me. is what I've been saying for the longest time. And that is, it is a level of abuse, it is fear tactics, it is gaslighting, and the bad news, which is not just the the domain of the cable news networks. It also comes from your local news. It comes from the evening news. It comes from the newspapers. There are so many sources of that, and I pray God I'm not one of them. But there are so many sources of that which keeps pulling you back, and that is, you watch and you wonder and you hope that somebody is going to say something that is going to be the answer to the lifelong question, where does dogs go when they die? It's a farm in upstate New York, of course, right? Although that's what you tell the kids when you don't want to lay anything heavy on them. However, if you've ever delve into that, and let's say the cable news network tries to figure out what do dogs go to, um, when they get old and sickly. Well, we're going to send him to a farm in upstate New York where he can run around. 10 years later, those poor kids still think that the dog is somewhere running around, not realizing that the dog is dead. But by then, hopefully, the kids would forget about it. But if they ever, let's say, had a news cycle where they kept talking about what really happens to the dogs, and they bring in this expert and that expert and this expert, and suddenly you can't stop watching because you're hoping and praying that you're going to hear something that is going to change the whole thing and open it wide up. And so that is what's happening with this situation, is that they are pulling you in. They are pulling us in, and they are making us watch repeatedly, hoping that the cab driver will say something different. Or maybe some witness who was working in a bakery steps out and says, you know what? I saw what happened. Don't wait for it, you guys. It's not going to happen. There is not going to be any one who steps forward, even if they brought all of the surveillance footage and the CCTV camera people. None of that is going to happen. It is not. They are having a feed-in frenzy on GB News, amongst others. And unfortunately, I noticed that some of the local news people here, well, not local, but I'm going to say the US, the domestic news services, are getting in on this action. Where I actually saw someone, I think it was CNN, who, most of it I have seen has been very fair, especially where John Miller is involved. But otherwise, they had like the household skeptic, the in-house skeptic that I could just tell from her tone that she just wasn't buying the events as we understand it here in the Sussex squad. So I'm going to give you guys some advice, but let's go through some things first. And I promise you, if you have something else to do, as much as I want your participation, go ahead and do it, because I'm not going to change. I don't have anything, a surprise witness or anything that's going to change the story as we know it, that is going to go forth and tell everybody in the world what really happened. We already know what happened. So if you got something else to do, go on and do it, because I'm not going to change anything like that for you. However, I do have some good advice for you, and I'm going to share that a little bit later. Uh, Let me see. Black Queen says, I set her straight, of course. She finally understood. But do you see the power of propaganda to the weak mind? Where's my bell? I took a break from the bell yesterday, but Black Queen You get the first one. Truer words have never been spoken. The power of propaganda to the weak mind. Yeah, that is that is exactly where we're headed with this. But thank you so much, Black Queen. Like I say, I had an epiphany, and I'm not going to let these people drag me down with all of this repeated nonsense, because they are making money. Everybody's making money from this. Everybody. I mean to tell you, all of the negativity, and the more negative, the more money they're making. So take a look here. This right here, woman hit by Duchess of Edinburgh's motorcade was thrown across the road. They nailed that old woman so hard that she flew across the road. You would think that that would be the story. You would think. We should have been going on day after day after day with more details about how her baguette flew across the street, her fish and chips were scattered into the wind, someone had to retrieve her shoe. None of that. Uh-uh. All we heard was that they are going to investigate, and that the thoughts and prayers are with the family, and they're praying for the poor woman who's in the hospital in a coma. Like right here, it says, watching, and this is from a squatty, watching the UK media ignore the fact that a working member of the royal family's entourage hit an elderly woman, and that poor woman is currently in a coma, but the entire media is focusing on discrediting Harry and Meghan's incident. Is a double standard and the gaslighting. Absolutely. And that's exactly what it is. It's a double standard, it's gaslighting, and there is absolutely nothing that is going to stop them from making this money while it's available to them. That is not the money story right there. And even if it were, the royal family has given them so much access so often that it is more beneficial for them to ignore this incident and downplay it than it would be for them to actually pay attention to it. So even if the poor lady, goes to join her late queen, it really won't matter because they have something far juicier across the Atlantic. And this, let me see, is it Thursday? It'll still be a thing Monday. It'll probably still be a thing Monday. So brace yourselves, guys, because this is not going to go away so easy. Because as long as they can keep that cab driver talking, as long as you can find someone who seems credible that has their doubts, and then of course, let's remember New York depends heavily on tourism, and it almost seems like someone from the mayor's office actually spoke to that cab driver, because I tell you guys, sometimes I look at that cab driver and there's a little voice in my head that says, shake him. You know what I'm saying? Until saliva pours out of the corner of his mouth, just keep shaking him until he gets some sense in his head. But I think that given his presence on television, all I could imagine him doing is just laughing. I mean, he has a case of the giggles. He cannot believe his fortune. Pensioner 81 in a coma after being hit by Duchess of Edinburgh's police escort. An elderly woman who was hit by a police motorcade escorting the Duchess of Edinburgh is reportedly in a coma in hospital. That's weird. In the U.S., I think we usually say in the hospital, but that is always so weird to me when I hear someone say he's in hospital. It's the hospital. But anyway, Pomerose said heart attacks come when you're doing right. not when you're doing wrong. This proves Harry and Meghan are on the right side of history. The wrong side knows this too. Absolutely, Pomerose. Thank you so much for that. Um, but guys, like I said, it's not going to go anywhere. It is here for a while. So I, all I can say is I'm going to keep doing what I do, and I'm not going to be discouraged by all of this nonsense. B10 says the paparazzi should be caught and thrown in jail, but I suspect they have flown back to the UK and in hiding, as some of them are on the MI5, MI6 payroll, allegedly. Well, that you know what? If that is the case, we'll probably never know it. We'll never know it. And I saw that interview with the so-called paparazzi who had his hood on and his back to the camera, and he accuses the Sussex's driver of being the one who was reckless. Of course, you would say that. Of course, you would. Andrews says the Sussex's report is always accurate. It's sad how vile and sick the tabloids are. The unroyals sanctioned this against our faves. Here in the U.S., these hits will not continue. Um, that cab driver. Well, they have a lot of friends here in the U.S. I hate to say it, but far too often we have seen how certain elements in the media seems to do their bidding for them. And what makes me really sad is when I see African Americans participating in that. But um, what can you do? What can you do? You just have to make sure that you always, present the truth, and you have something to counter those narratives. And there's a lot of people that are at a much higher pay grade than you and I that are working on this in Montecito as we speak, I'm sure. So I'm gonna wait and follow my I'm going to take my cues, should I say, from the Sussex's representatives, and see what comes of it, because they have to be addressing this in some kind of way. And hopefully they're gathering evidence before the trail gets too cold. And you have to really be prepared for the idea that maybe absolutely nothing is going to come of it. Um, but we can't let that discourage us from our individual missions, to uplift and support the Sussexes, to keep um, making our donations to the charities that they're participating in, and so on. We just have to continue to do that, because the enemy wants you to be exhausted. The enemy wants you to be reactive. And if you give in to that, then you have truly missed the whole point of why we're here in the first place. And, we're here for positivity. Let me see. Okay. Stephanie Baker says the royal rodents are mad that Harry was smiling at the court, the coronation, etc. Harry and Meghan smile at the Lakers game, date night, and the award ceremony in New York City. Keep your joy. There you go. Thank you. Keep your joy, Harry and Meghan. That is y'all's superpower. Amen to that. I see we're all on the right track. Hello, Baron. Mario says hello to everyone. Let me see. Sussex Squad, this is bad publicity for dignitary security in New York. They better come clean ASAP. Yeah, and if this was just another dignitary, when you're in the area of Manhattan, particular by the United Nations, you see motorcades all the time. You hear sirens all the time. but there's no interest in some of the most powerful people in the world. There's no interest in those people. But for some reason, Harry and Meghan seem to have the full court of the paparazzi available that night. And you guys, the one person that I was worried about more than anybody else was Anita of My Duke and I. And I couldn't wait to hear from her today. And I did watch Anita earlier today, and I'm so glad. I'm so glad that I was able to see her face, hear her voice. And she said that she didn't post anything about it yesterday because she wanted to respect the situation, such as it was, where there was all of this noise and everything. And so it wasn't time, and she is going to hold off sharing the images and such from that night. But she said, literally, I was close enough to just reach out and touch them. And she, just like the other woman that we heard from, she spoke about how the tabloid reporters were hoping for the aggressive reaction from the Sussexes, from Doria, I suppose, and also from the security, and they didn't get what they wanted. And I think that is one of the reasons why they became so aggressive, is because they didn't get that payoff that they wanted for their patients, and that is to see if they could get a reaction out of them. Um, there were several, and see, this is what's so deceptive about these things, is that when you see the person avoiding the cameras and such, you don't hear the nasty things that the paparazzi is saying to them. And for some reason, all we ever hear is, look over here, over your shoulder. Can you turn around? That's all we ever hear. We don't hear when they are, dropping the four-letter words and calling them, these scandalous names. That never seems to make the cut. But I recommend that you guys go and watch Anita of My Duke and I, because she has shed so much light on that evening. And because we know her, I trust her. I trust Anita more than I trust anybody else in this situation. And let me get the link if Lydia hasn't already. Oh, okay, I'm gonna get it because I haven't scrolled yet. I'm gonna just leave it there because I want to make sure I don't miss anything today. But anyway, you guys probably just heard Anita's music in the background. Okay. But yeah, so you guys, I'm going to just say it. It's more important that you hear from Anita than listening to me right now. Do you understand? You need to hear what she had to say, because believe me, you'll feel much better. So there's the link. I'm going to post it at the top of the chat. And yeah, that is very, very important. So at your leisure, please go and watch it whenever you feel like you can. It is so important, because trust me, along with the other thing that I heard today, when I heard Anita's voice, I felt like a weight was lifted. I felt like a weight was lifted, because just like that particular night, um, when I heard her, I knew that there was someone who loved the Sussexes, who loved Meghan, was nearby, and that made me feel better, um, because it's just so much important, so important when you are surrounded with love than when you are surrounded with hostility. That would be tough for anyone. Do make sure you watch her today. And while you're over there, you may as well subscribe. Hello. All right, so thank you so much, Mario Pena. Thank you. All right, so I'm scrolling again now. I had it stuck there for a second. Okay, Connie Bomber, thank you so much for the super chat. Baron, thank you, Squatties. Yesterday was hard. Yes, it was. And I struggled yesterday, but I promise you, I'm back. I am back. Um, Let me see here. And Elaine Parker, thank you so much for the super sticker. Patricia Hightower, thank you so much for the super sticker. And thank you all for watching Royal Sussex. Angelina Stanley says, I definitely think they were salty about losing money from Meg not attending the coronation. They were trying to make up for it. Yeah, that was definitely a factor. You know, there's an implied ownership of the Sussexes, of their children, of their everything, and I guess for the period of time. Oh, thank you so much, Lydia, right behind me. Okay, let me see here. I'm gonna put that yours up there because at least they'll know what it is. Because I never bother to add the other part to it. Let me see here. Replace pin message. There we go. Okay, so there's the link for Anita. I promise you, you will feel much, much better. Yeah, you will feel better. I can't say that enough. Patricia Hightower, thank you for the super sticker and thank you for being here today. And also, is it Coralita Simone? Thank you for the super sticker and happy Thursday to you. Okay. Leslie F says, Baron, the photography agency that hired the paparazzi, statements saying that 4 SUVs and one bike, I'm sorry, and one on an e-bike, they are doing their own internal investigation as to why they pursued them so long. Oh, that's interesting. That's interesting. Of course, that's what people always say when they know something has gone terribly wrong. I'm always skeptical when I hear people say, well, we're going to do an investigation. Remember, they investigated Meghan and then they decided to shelve it and then they mentioned it again. And I guess after it has run its course, they'll leave it for now. And you know what? You know what, though? I just thought about something just that fast. If there was the possibility that they would have had Meghan um, looking grimacing or brooding in some type of way, then of course the investigation into bullying would come off the shelf again. And fortunately, they haven't had the opportunity because they haven't been able to find her in a situation. I mean, not one single situation. They have exaggerated every, did she swallow too hard? Did she clear her throat? Did she raise an eyebrow? Any of those things is supposed to be her sociopathic nature, right? Uh, any of those things, and she's like some kind of war criminal. So they have tried really hard, but she has given them absolutely nothing. If you guys recall the appearance, I think it was Julia Roberts was on Oprah one time, and she showed this space that she uses with the paparazzi, and it's a way that she holds her mouth, her face, her eyes, everything, so that every pap photo comes out picture perfect. They cannot catch her out in any type of way, and I think that is just an adaptation that a lot of people that for whatever reason are in front of the camera a lot. I think it's just a way to deal with it. Some people it comes across as like the resting what face, but Megan's is always pleasant, and I'm sure that that ruffles feathers, but whatever. But thank you so much for that, Leslie F. Let me go to the next slide. I've already been on this one for 30 minutes. All right. So right here, scary echo of Diana. Paparazzi chase Harry and Meghan through New York City streets, recalls Princess Paris' death, and of course, NYPD, no arrests, no injuries. So the daily news in New York, at least the cover so far, seems pretty straightforward. They don't even show Harry's face. They just show Meghan, from a particular angle. And so there's just that very grainy photo so that I guess it leaves it open for the reader's interpretation. And maybe that's a good thing. And then here on the right side, you can see the Daily Mirror, Diana's letter sensation. They're planning an accident in my car so Charles can marry again. And so, out of all of the front pages that we've seen over the years, this is still the one that it should raise concern. It's alarming because as much as I'd like to believe that it's just not possible that anything could have been planned for Diana, still you can't rule it out because one of the first things that you always consider is who stands to gain from it. You always think about the money trail. How does this work out as an advantage to her enemies, which there were many? And really, they weren't enemies of hers because of anything she had done to them. She was an enemy of them because, as far as they were concerned, their loyalty, no matter what, has to go to the crown. It has to go to the royal family, to the monarchy. And so the only way that they could make sure that it was okay to destroy her character was to dehumanize Princess Diana as much as possible, as often as possible. And so, and it's so interesting too that I found someone else. Oh gosh, I forget her name. She is not necessarily a squatty, but much like oh my goodness, I can't remember this girl's name. And I'm not thinking of Bolin. It's the other one. She has a TikTok, and I think she moved over to YouTube, and she's doing longer formats. But she definitely brings it sometimes, and even today, um, I'm just going to have to give her credit for helping me through this situation. In as much as let's see, what is her name? Meredith Constance. Do you guys ever watch her? Meredith Constance. She had actually said something so similar to what I had said, and I'm like, yes, yes, she gets it. And I'm pretty sure she thought about it first. But either way, um, it's the thing about the headlines. The thing about the headlines, and even if you don't buy the paper, even if you don't read the articles, those headlines they read out like sentences instead of a headline. I mean, what kind of headline says they're planning an accident in my car so Charles can marry again? That's not a headline. That's a complete sentence, isn't it? Or a quote, a comment, but it's in a sentence form rather than just a headline. And so they use that as a way to gaslight. They use that as a way to propagandize certain things that they want the public's um, thoughts to read as a complete story. It's like if you read the headline, you read the story. They are trying to indoctrinate people like that, and it works. And it works. That's why when I heard her say that, I was just like, That's what I've been saying. I mean, I just, I notice what words are saying sometimes, and I can never look at something without considering what is the intent. What is the intent? Even for people I know, love, and trust, I always want to know what the intention is. Not that I think that the intention may necessarily be something negative, but where does it come from? As the lady Sussex says, who is this woman? Where does this come from? What does that word mean? I am here for it because it helps to tell the story. And if you don't look at the background, if you don't look at the intention, how would you ever know what the truth is? Sophia Charlotte, thank you so much for the super sticker and thank you for watching Royal Sussex. And happy Thursday to you. Thank you so much for being here. So, yes, it is so much about intention. Gosh, I must be talking too much. There's a whole bunch of comments I'm missing. I believe Harry and Meghan. Me, after all, me too. I trust them. I believe them. Um, I don't see any shade from them. I see the shade from the people who don't, or should I say, the people who want to control them, who don't feel like they have enough control of them. And I know I hate being handled and controlled. Um, could you imagine? Could you imagine being someone in a position of the Sussexes and having some of the um, I guess, kind of shady characters, hoping that if they could control you so they can enrich themselves. It's just one of those many things that you have to navigate when you have a high position like theirs. So, um, and I tell you, I watched Oprah over the years go from a pauper to a billionaire, and I listened carefully to a lot of the words that she said. And it's amazing how, on occasion, I can recall some of the experiences that she had on her way up the ladder of success, um, where she was just, telling people this, like the time when she said that she had to bring her lawyers and her family to the table to do a one-time gift because someone as powerful as Oprah was almost weak as water when it came to the needs and wants of her family, constantly begging, constantly coming up with emergencies. And every time something happened, they all looked to her. That's a lot of pressure. That's a lot of pressure. So, yeah. Anyway, not to get too far off track, I suppose. Let me see here. I better do some scrolling because you guys got a lot of comments and I'm probably missing some really good stuff. Okay. Yeah. And Fu says probably because they're hoping for another Paris tunnel accident. They might be allegedly planning another accident since this one was not successful. Yeah, it could have. I mean, anytime you put a person at risk like that, whose ever idea it was, and this is what I'm guessing is that someone must have offered big money for photos. And if we ever got a confession out of the people in that community of paparazzi, if we ever got a confession, now either maybe the photos from the hike made a lot of money and that was something that drove this pursuit of photos because they've had photos before, right, that did not garner as much interest, but it was something about that hike in contrast to the coronation that seemed to rub somebody the wrong way. Or again, maybe that was one of the reasons why so much pressure was put on the idea of get those photos, get those photos. I mean, unless they know something that we don't, like the one who said, well, I have to do this because it might be his last photo. What is that supposed to mean? What exactly are you trying to say? I mean, if there's something more to that, then let us know. But otherwise, we can't help but look at the photographers, the paparazzis, as the ones who are trying to, or maybe it was the kids they were after. Maybe they really wanted photos of the kids. Maybe the idea that all three of them were in New York City, maybe the whole thing was, well, if they're here together, then the kids must be here. And if we can get a photo of them and the kids, I'm going to struggle with that one for a while to figure out exactly what their intentions were. But the like Anita said, the frenzied activity outside of the venue. I don't want to say anything more about what she said because I only just touched the very uh, surface of it, but she went so much more deeper. So I'm not going to say anything more about what she said. And I think anybody in the comments to likewise not do that. Let Anita tell the story. She experienced the situation there at the theater firsthand. So please go to her, let her tell the story. Okay. So let me just go all the way down to, oh, Regina Wallace. Thank you so much for the super sticker and thank you for being here. I'm going to go all the way down to the last. Berta Sanchez, did I just see you? Lisa Cook, thank you for the super sticker and thank you for being here this Thursday. So, gosh, why is it hot in here? Oh, my AC just kicked in. Okay, B10 says Baron and the marriage advantage Diana's death facilitated. That's the most advantageous outcome. It really is because a divorce, there's not supposed to be a divorced monarch on the throne. But if the monarch's spouse died suddenly and unexpectedly, then that would make it seem okay in the eyes of the church. But there are some people who say that Charles' claim to the throne is illegitimate because he still had a divorce. The same church that would not marry him in a house of worship, he actually got married at a registrar's office. I believe it was the office of the local council. There's this building near Windsor Castle that has this portico, and I think that was the place they went to. Help me out if I'm wrong, Elaine. But there's a building near Windsor Castle as you approach the statue of Queen Victoria at Windsor Castle. There's a building that kind of sticks, it just juts out to the street in this odd way. And you kind of have to walk around it if you're on that side of the street. And I believe that that is the local registrar's office. But either way, they were close to Windsor. And as soon as they left that place, they went over to St. George Chapel where they were able to have prayer. So they had a prayer service on their wedding day. The Queen refused, as head of the church, to go to the wedding because she did not see it as legitimate. However, she went to the registrar's office. So when you look at it that way, does he have a legitimate claim to the throne? See, they had to change the rules to make that okay. He's the head of the church. He is the governor of the Church of England. And yet, he is a divorced man and a confirmed adulterer. He's an adulterer. He and she are both admitted adulterers. Got that out my system. So is he even supposed to be there? Is he even supposed to be there? So anyway, thank you so much, B10 Pal. You helped me get that out of my system. But you know me, I probably would have anyway. Adulterers, cheaters, adulterers on the thrones. They are. Okay. Anyway. Oh, man. Okay, so I was trying to figure out a way that I could format this and share it with you without getting in trouble. That's what was taking me so long because I'm okay with the sound, but if I play the video, it's too much work to lose your monetization. And you guys heard Anne of Duchess of Success mention the fact that sometimes you do all this work and you can't even monetize your video. So, in order to avoid that, you have to work your way around it. So the sound is okay as long as it's not music, right? Oh, wow, the sound of music. Anyway, the sound is okay as long as it's not music. And so, anyway, that's enough of all that Who Shot John. Let me get the video. The hills are alive with the sound of music. I told you sometimes certain words trigger me.
Blacked out SUV you can't really see in there anyway. The object of the game seemed to be to conduct a surveillance that took them back to where they were going so that the paparazzi could stake that out, camp out there and then be able to follow their every move. So they were trying to thwart that. And I mean, that goes literally, they go all the way uptown, can't shake them, they're trying to slow down. Now, they're not running red lights, they're not speeding, but these people are swarming around, blocking the front of the car, driving through red lights into oncoming traffic. At one point, when two of the SUVs in the motorcade didn't move while the car with the Duke and Duchess went, one of those paparazzi cars mounted the sidewalk, hit something, skirted the corner, came off the sidewalk, pedestrians scattering.
How long did this go on for?
So this goes on for an hour and a half plus until they finally say, we've been uptown, we've been downtown to 23rd Street, uptown to 96th Street, FDR Drive, 3rd Avenue, side streets, and we can't lose this pack. So Tommy Buddha, who is the guy running the motorcade on the private security side, former FBI, NYPD, JTTF detective, very competent guy, says, let's go somewhere safe, take a breather and make a plan. So they go to the 19th Police Precinct. That's where they shift to the taxi, but the spotters for the paparazzis end up following them. And then they go to plan C, which actually works.
And they shifted to the taxi, John, as a decoy to throw off the paparazzi?
The idea would be the paparazzi were focused on the motorcade that was in place. And if they could slip them into a taxi that would then disappear at midnight into a sea of other taxis in Manhattan traffic, it might actually be the getaway, because the place they were going actually wasn't far away. It was a couple of blocks.
Okay, that was sort of what the mayor was alluding to. How could it be a high-speed chase in New York City? We wish that we could do a high-speed chase, but at times it was, right, John?
So this was a never a high-speed chase because the motorcade had an NYPD element in it from the Intelligence Bureau. And the instructions were, we're not lights and sirens, we're not running lights, we're following traffic regulations, we're there as a protection detail. Now, the paparazzi, that was a different set of rules because they went high speed to catch up. There was a time on 34th Street where they were, half a block behind the motorcade, and they literally crossed the yellow lines, drove into oncoming traffic until they caught up and placed themselves back there. That was among 20 things that happened, from 23rd Street to 96th Street as they tried to stay, on their tail.
Sonny, had you ever seen anything else like this in your years of driving taxi?
No. I've been driving now since 2018. This was the first time I saw this. I had other celebrities, but other celebrities never got that much attention from the paparazzis.
That's interesting. And so does that give you a sense? I mean, now today, with all the attention that this has gotten, does that surprise you? And does it give you a sense of what their lives must be like?
Yeah, you can tell, right? He lost his mother, running away from the paparazzis as well. So you can tell they were nervous and scared in the car.
Yeah.
They would have been covered as representatives of the crown, as members of the royal family, as a diplomatic trip. Basically, they're private citizens now, and not on a government mission here. But, the first rule of risk management, as we were taught long ago, is predictable is preventable. When you have two people that are going to draw this kind of attention and potentially this kind of mayhem, You put a police element in there just in the name of public safety. And that's why the NYPD was, along with the private security. The complicating factor is, as it was just said here by Richard, that's to protect them from threats that you would have against royals and people like that, terrorists, stalkers, assassins, the normal threats. When you're surrounded by, this swarm of press that are literally slowing you down, blocking you at intersections, then trying to catch up to you, if there is a real threat, getting off the X is that much harder.
Yeah. Aaron, it's interesting to hear Sonny say that he's transported celebrities before, but he's never seen anything like this.
It's just, I think it's really hard for us in the US to understand the scale of the interest that still exists in the UK for them. Once we, in the month of February, Meghan made no public appearances, and we kind of, as a journalistic exercise, decided to count the number of stories that the Daily Mail ran on her. No, never spotted in public at any point in time more than 100 stories. And some of them were just like, they're just things that happened, like something from her blog from 2014 that was repeated 4 times. And it's just, at a certain point, they understand now that they can't really get rid of that interest, but I think that they're trying to do their hardest to, I think that they've been using shame tactics, they've been using legal tactics to try to discourage some of this. And so I think that that's why this became public in the first place, is because people started running those photos and they were thinking, okay, we don't want them to be running these photos. We don't want the people who are making our lives miserable last night to make the money off of it. And after sharing the story, the Daily Mail and the Express took those photos down.
See, Richard, even when they lay low.
So, anyway, so that's what I was trying to work on, and it took me a minute to work it out. So I had to get rid of a portion of it. As a matter of fact, I eliminated part of Sonny because Sonny is so irritating. And they asked him, a couple of things about the fair and stuff like that. And anyway, I think the other part of what he was saying, he had that big stupid grin on his face, and the way he smiles and laughs every time, and he's so dismissive. He is a bonanza for the people involved in the conspiracy of hate against the Sussexes, and of course the people who are going along for the ride that are probably very neutral, but they know it makes money. They know it makes money. So to massage the situation by creating doubt and bringing up questions, and then instead of answering the question, to instill more doubt at the tail end of it, means that you are going to come back and watch again and again and again. And that is one of the tactics that they use to keep you engaged with these soap operas on television. John Miller, thank God for him that he's not participating with that kind of game playing. He's giving you the facts straight as he knows them, based on the contacts that he has. He is a long distinguished reporter, and he's from the old school. He's most of the reporters here in the U.S. is very different how they get in those positions. Some of them just want to write. Some of them have a conscience and they want to use their talent as writers to make things better in this world. But a lot of these reporters nowadays, they're ideologues. They are right wingers and such. And so instead of someone like John Miller, who, may have witnessed the civil rights movement or the tail end of it, or, I'm not sure what his age is and how his career has gone. But, back in the day, there were reporters that actually saw those things, and it was a chance for them to do good. What is the guy that was on CBS? Dan Rather, the Dan Rathers of this world. We just don't have that anymore. They have pretty much run all of them out of the business. Some of them just got older and retired, but it's just so difficult to get the news without a bunch of conjecture, which I don't even know what that word means, but I know that that's what they're throwing in there. It's hard to get the news. You don't get the news, you get opinions. And sometimes it's just so hard to tell the difference because we have been fed these talking points so much that you just really don't know. And poor Omid Scobie, I look at Omid and they don't want Omid to say too much, or they don't give him a chance to really tell his story or tell the story because they have someone there, or sometimes 2 or 3 people there to counter the narrative. So there's John Miller. Let me see. I actually used, let me see, is that the same one? No. Okay. Because this is not actually the screenshot from oh yeah, yes it is. I'm sorry. Yes, it is. Okay. So let me play this one from yesterday. If I can find it. I wasn't actually planning to share that one with you today, but maybe we can. Oh, by the way, thank you so much for the PayPal. Okay. There we go. There you go. Thank you so much, MME. Okay. Let me see here. So from yesterday, where is it? Where is it? Okay. By the way, Mumbles was out today, just mumbling. I get to her tomorrow though. It was fun. I mean, hand jabbing and grabbing air and oh, she was doing the whole thing. All those little weird ticks that she's capable of. Oh, okay. I'm sorry. It's not exactly where I thought it was, but let me find it. And I don't know, maybe I shouldn't even bother, but we'll see. We'll see. I think I was going somewhere with that. Let me stay with it. Aha. The hills are alive with the sound of music. Why was I singing that? Does anybody remember? Okay. Oh Lord, I got to get a better system. I told you guys I need to organize some stuff, and it is going from bad to worse over here. It is going from bad to worse, but I got it. Oh man, if I was a nuclear physicist working at a nuclear reactor and I needed something really fast to save the entire state of Vermont, we would be probably down to 49 states by dinner time. Let me see here. Nope, not you. Ha, there it is.
Prince Harry and Meghan Markle were involved in a chaotic car chase in New York Tuesday night. The couple's spokesperson says they were being followed by photographers after leaving a charity event at the Ziegfeld Theater in Midtown. They were traveling with Meghan's mother and were allegedly followed by half a dozen vehicles. The couple's spokesperson says the chase resulted in, quote, multiple near collisions involving other drivers on the road, pedestrians, and 2 NYPD officers. They described it as, quote, near catastrophic. John Miller, who's a former NYPD Deputy Commissioner of Intelligence and Counterterrorism, just spoke about the incident on CNN.
This originally came in as a story about, they had a car accident yesterday, which apparently is not the case. What the case is, speaking to people around the protective detail that was assigned to this, was they were overwhelmed by paparazzi. These were people in cars. These were people on motorcycles. These were people on scooters that had surrounded the vehicle in midtown traffic. And now you've got the NYPD team that is the protective detail behind the principal car. And there's scooters and motorcycles running in between them, ahead of them, crossing in front of them. They're trying to create some distance, and this is becoming worse and worse. So finally, in frustration, they made a command decision of, trying to first slow down traffic, block a street, and get some distance. That didn't work because then the scooters and the motorcycles flew down the sidewalks with pedestrians scattering. So they went to the 19th precinct. That's 67th Street in Manhattan. They blocked off both ends of the street. They created basically a buffer. And then they spent some time, trying to cool down from this and say, all right, what's our strategic plan to get to the next location without bringing this entire crowd?
Breaking news here on CBS News New York. Prince Harry and Meghan Markle.
All right.
Meghan Markle were involved.
There we go. Don't need to repeat that part. Oh, by the way, thank you for the Cash App. MM. Can I say that one? All right. Thank you very much. So all right. So there's some clarity. He started his work as law enforcement and intelligence analyst. So maybe that's why we're just getting a straight report from him. But yeah, so he has the experience. He knows the difference. He knows New York. And so, as you have probably seen from some of the networks or whatever you want to call them, some of the podcasts and such, things that are particularly based out of the UK, it's so weird to hear somebody say, oh, well, I lived in New York for 3 years, and they have had some of the weirdest examples of people who seem to know New York better than the New Yorkers. And even some people in New York, based on how you ask the question. As a matter of fact, let me say it again. I watched Meredith Constance, and that's one of the things that she said was listen to how they ask the question. And so most people are just answering the question as it was given. They're not considering, they're not media people. They don't know the difference between answering a question honestly compared to giving someone talking points. That is not their expertise. They don't know, or they haven't considered, or even worse, if they don't care, that they are giving talking points to some very cruel, nasty, malicious people. That is not within their wheelhouse. So I'm going to post another link on the screen. If you haven't got Anita's link yet, hopefully I can find it for you again. But I'm going to change the link at the top of the screen. This is for the other channel that I just mentioned. And she definitely explains in depth how posing a question in a certain way, which is exactly what happens when they do polls. If you ever wonder how can those polls actually have or could they have how could they be accurate? It is because the way the questions are posed is done deliberately to confuse the the participants in the poll. And so if you want the answers to lean one direction or the other, it's all a matter of a bunch of wordsmithing. How do you ask the question? How do you present the data? And then based on that, you can actually persuade people to answer in a way that is beneficial to whoever you're serving, as opposed to them really answering the question from the heart, because they are going to be a good sailor and they are going to do exactly what the captain tells them to do. That captain being the person posing the question. They're going to be a good sailor. They're going to do as they're told. So that is all. If you stitch it together, it explains why this has taken on a life of its own. And this is just one situation. VS says, overwhelmed will fuel others to step up and be over the top than they were. Tuesday night, episode 2 of the Netflix, The Beginning, will show what they have to do to hopefully avoid PAPS. As a matter of fact, VS, I heard you discussing that earlier, and you made a great point about that. So I do remember that part of Harry and Meghan's docuseries where they were in the SUV and they were having this discussion about someone on a motorbike. And so you guys take all this information and try to form your opinions from here rather than torturing yourself watching people that obviously are not interested in the truth or maybe even hate the Sussexes. Don't spend so much time with those people. I mean, knowledge is power. I'm not going to tell you to avoid everything, but for the sake of your own mental health and well-being, you are torturing yourself if you expect that there's going to be some big revelation that is going to somehow make it through the filter of the hate, the lies that are coming from the Royal Rota and the tabloid media is not likely to happen anytime soon. Those who have formed their opinion, and that's what's so terrible about this, is that only a small percentage of people will shift their opinion. But those who have formed their opinion already, this is only nourishment. This is only feeding the bear. This is only going to enhance their unawareness. I'll call it unawareness. This is only going to enhance that. So sometimes you're not going to be able to get through that. No matter how hard you try, there's still about 35% of Americans who consistently support Donald Trump. Not enough to win an election, but still a very large minority group of people that are going to believe him no matter what. So, VS, I don't know what this weird connection is that we have, but didn't you know that this was the next slide? So VS says FDR is wild, wild west. Spokesperson said near catastrophic car crash. Never said they were in one. Wow. So this is the FDR as I described it to you. Was it yesterday? This runs along the shoulder of the island. This is right there on the edge. It is designed to get you past all of Manhattan's skyscrapers, the concrete jungle. It is designed to get you there quick, right? Look, what looks like it even crosses under the Brooklyn Bridge. So you got 6 lanes, 3 on each side. And given this time of day, you can see that it is still daytime, slowly creeping into the evening, I suppose. I don't think this is morning. This must be evening. But anyway, it is so open in this area. There's even room for a baseball field in Manhattan. They have room for a baseball field right there. So we always think of Manhattan as being this dense concrete jungle, that there's all these people on top of people. Yes, that is true, but not everywhere. And like most big cities that is surrounded by water or near water, they have this 2-level drive right here. So underneath, I don't know if there's any roads down there, but there is some type of traffic and activity downstairs as it is upstairs. But upstairs is where the fast stuff is happening. So this, as you can see, they have interstate highway signs. You see those signs? Those are interstate highways. This is a highway. This is a major traffic artery. And along with that, you can see that wide open space where even if you were able to get ahead of the paparazzi, if they catch a glimpse of you, they are the ones that were speeding. I don't believe the Sussexes were ever in a position where they were speeding. On a open area like that, most people are likely to do, if there's no traffic, 40, 50 miles an hour. I don't think it rose to 80 miles an hour. That would be very, very reckless. And at that point, not only would you have to worry about yourself, but you could also maim or kill someone that is totally innocent to any of this stuff, an innocent bystander. And so I doubt that. But yeah, I'm just saying if there is the possibility. But the gaslighting, this deception, they're showing like a view of Fifth Avenue in the midst of traffic. And they're saying, how is it possible that they could have been in a high-speed chase? Well, their spokesperson never said high-speed chase. That was someone else. I believe it was the mayor of New York who said, I find it rather hard to believe. And so, again, the haters are clinging to every word, looking for the opportunity to somehow interject, oh, they're lying. That didn't happen. They're lying. They want to make them out to be liars. And it's very difficult to disprove a negative. If something like that is very negative is directed towards you, after a while, people are going to believe your enemy. And there's really nothing you can do about it but reinforce the truth and live your best life. You really, at a certain point, there's no way to combat that. As I've mentioned before, I've worked in a couple of situations where there's someone who started a whispering campaign. And one of those people had a very agonizing ending. I'll just say it like that. Very agonizing. And it's not like I'm saying, oh, that person really deserved it or whatever. What I'm saying is that lack of grace and that hostility that was extended to people that may have been very innocent, it seemed like it consumed that person. It seemed like it consumed that person. And if you give in to their hate, it will consume you. So trust and believe the Sussexes are regrouping right now, and they are going to put this behind them. And that was the advice I wanted to share with you guys. Be prepared to put this behind you. Be prepared to not be able to win this argument because it is too much money to be made. And there is a campaign second to none that has been happening with the tabloid media. So the only thing that you can do is just go back to here. And here is, oh, there was an award ceremony. Meghan dazzled in her gold dress. You're going to have to go back there. Try to disassociate the agony of this hate campaign with an otherwise terrific night. You have to do that for your own well-being. And that is the advice that I had for you guys, was to please try to lose that association, because if you don't, it is going to consume you. We have listened to it over and over again. Thank God for John Miller. And you know what? I'm going to play that soundbite. I wasn't really prepared to do it, but I know Ann played it earlier, or did she? I don't recall, because I was in and out of it. But Lady H mentioned the Breakfast Club with Charlemagne. And the reason why I hesitated to share this is because I don't want to keep trying to prove something that I know to be true, because that's exhausting. I would rather go back to supporting the Sussexes the way that I always have, and that's been virtually unconditional based on my ability to support them. It has been unconditional. Do you guys realize Royal Sussex has almost 1,000 videos? Did you guys know that? I think we're just shy of like maybe 15 shy of 1,000 videos, and just a handful of those are shorts. Otherwise, they're videos that have been edited and everything else in between. Almost 1,000 videos to support the Sussexes, and of course to make folly of their enemies. That I'm always glad to do. They don't ask me to do that. I just choose to do that. That's part of my mental health and well-being. But I'm glad to do it because I believe in them. So let me see if I can find that, because I wasn't prepared to do the Breakfast Club, because by the way, let me see. Was that okay. Did I say thank you for the Cash App? M.A. I'm going to say M.A. Thank you so much for the Cash App. All right. Thank you very much for the Cash App. Just saw that on my phone. But yeah, so I'm going to do the Breakfast Club, I think. And, but yeah, after today, I'm not going to struggle trying to prove something or try to disprove something that I know is not true. I'm going to stick with the truth, and I'm not going to injure myself or jeopardize my mental health trying to. Okay, there it is. Let me see here. Because that's what the enemy wants. They want to wear you down and exhaust you so that you will lose the ability. In other words, you will lose your voice. And wasn't the favorite movie of Megan's, The Little Mermaid, something about losing your voice?
She was at an event over here or something?
Okay.
Happened very close to here when we were leaving the building yesterday. There was nothing but cameras all over the place, and I was trying to figure out what happened. And I guess she was leaving the ballroom, but they said that the paparazzi allegedly hit like 6, 7 cars over there, and they said it was a big thing.
That's what we were told yesterday. Because
They said they hit the cars?
Yeah. We were told that yesterday. We were told that the paparazzi was going around the block because I guess she was in a building over here. She was in an event over here.
What is it? The Siegfried Ballroom over there? Yeah,
something.
Yeah,
and they was like paparazzi was hitting cars.
Yeah,
trying to get a picture of her.
Trying to get the picture, which is weird because in New York City you really don't see wild paparazzi crazy like that chasing people because you see so many people. You don't really have that, here. But
y'all losing y'all damn mind over Meghan Markle. Come on, stop.
Well, they allegedly said it was no actual collision, so I don't know if they meant hit, like resulting in an injury or accident or what.
These were parked cars.
Parked cars.
Yeah, these were parked cars. Yeah. The security told us that yesterday. Security literally told us yesterday. Meghan Markle was at the ballroom or whatever last night.
Ballroom,
the paparazzi kept going around in circles just to get a picture of her. They was hitting parked cars.
Yeah.
I heard that before I even heard from the mayor.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, the mayor said it was capped, but
okay. So thank you, Lady H, for bringing that up. That is what they said on the Breakfast Club. I can't stand Charlemagne. I'm gonna just tell you, I can't stand him. But and as you can see, I kind of think he has his opinions about Meghan. And I don't know what he said in the past because I don't watch him, but he turns on you. 1 minute he's for you, and next thing you know, he's running that mouth, just like Joe Rogan. Just when you think Joe Rogan makes sense, all of a sudden you'll hear him say something totally ignorant. Mystic Toxin says, when I saw Harry was filming what was going on, I knew they had prepared for a situation like this to happen. Harry is taking receipts while in a lawsuit regarding the same basic topic. Thank you so much, Mystic Toxin. I did notice him holding his phone up. And so like I said, guys, I'm back. Take as long as you need, but you have to be prepared to put this behind you because they are going to try to wear us down. Let me see exactly. I hope we, as squad, get back to a happy space. Call out the BS, but can quickly say the spokesperson said XYZ, and I believe the statement released and believe in Harry and Meghan. Amen to that. You get a bell because you're making it rain, 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 rain on me. Yes, exactly. Get back to your happy space because why are we going to let them pull us down with despair when this happened? This was an otherwise beautiful night. No physical injury came to the Sussexes. And yes, I cannot get that look that Doria had on her face. I can't, I don't want to forget that look because I'm going to use that as a motivation to continue to support them the way that I always have. I'm not going to let that um, be what destroys me or the cause or whatever. No, that's going to be a motivation. How dare you do anything to jeopardize any of them? How dare you? So, yeah, but you don't get to take my grace from me. You're not taking my grace. So let me see. And then, of course, as I was saying, this happened. The Ms. Foundation for Women, we were truly in the presence of greatness at the 2023 Women of Vision Awards. The event was filled with power, with joy, with sisterhood, and with generations of game changing feminists. Thank you all who attended and supported. That is where we ought to be. That is the place we're supposed to be. And trust me, and when I say this, I always tell you guys try not to be more angry than the people that are affected. Part of Harry's mission to obtain his mental health, to bring balance to his life, is being able to put these things into perspective and move on. Meghan, likewise. Doria, likewise. So they are going to rise above this if they haven't already. And we have to do the same. We have to be prepared to be there to support them. Um, and of course, the causes that they support are very important as well. So the whole idea of that night was to uplift women, to bring equality and justice for all. Is that right? Join us in the fight for equality and justice for all. That is the very tenets of the Ms. Foundation. So you guys know I'm a feminist. You know how I am about women's rights. That is where I will stay. I'm not going to keep fighting this fight. And okay, so John Miller, good. And if maybe there's a few other people that I'm not thinking of right now that are on the side of truth, I will listen to John Miller. Unless something changes, I will seek him out. But I'm not going to keep going to the serpent's den so that I can get misinformation so that they will leave me on the brink of the truth coming out. That's why I stopped watching The View. That's why I stopped watching a lot of things. When I tell you that I was affected by Donald John Trump, when I tell you that I am going to do everything I can to help Joseph Robinette Biden win another term as president, I don't care if he ain't all there. I don't care about that. I have lived through Ronald Reagan's senility. I don't think Joe Biden is nearly bad off as Ronald Reagan. I have lived through Ronald Reagan's senility. This is a president who nearly caused a nuclear war. If I can make it through that, then I can live with Joe Biden. I love Joe Biden. And my love for him starts with the fact that he's not Donald Trump. I don't have to have anxiety, have that feeling in the pit of my stomach day after day. I did that for too long. For too long, watching MSNBC, watching what's her name, Rachel, whatever her name, watching all those people, Morning Joe, hoping that this is going to be the definitive, and it never came. Are we going to be Charlie Brown waiting for the great pumpkin? No, we got lives to lead. We can't stay in that space. I'm not going to shuffle the chairs on the Titanic. If the ship is going to go down, I'm going to go down just like the violin players. I'm going to be in my grace. I'm not going to be clamoring for a piece of wood. If I can get the wood and I can be rescued, fine. But if this is the way I'm going to go out, I'm going to smile the entire way. I'm not going to give them the benefit of knowing that they have taken my spirit from me, that they have ripped the grace out of my being. I cannot do that. I don't like to give in to the enemy. So you guys do what you want to do. It's not that I'm never going to speak about this again, but the hard feelings, the despair, and the hand wringing, that left yesterday. That was over with yesterday. Today is a new day, and Meghan has another award. And if she shows up or doesn't show up for it, either way, I'm going to support her. Tomorrow is the Sussex's anniversary. As you guys know, I was in Windsor on the wedding day, and I saw them again on the Troop in the Color Day. So I supported them then, and I will be there for them forever. So there you go. That is my focus, not the haters, but the Sussexes and Mama Doria. Again, you guys, you have the video from Anita of My Duke and I. That was my path back to light. I suggest that you walk that same path. And if you're not ready yet, no judgment. But I'm not going to play their game, as Harry say. I'm not playing their game. So this happened. Beyonce and Jay-Z were papped in London. As we're on the subject, they were papped. They have not learned. Now, the photo on the right is a Getty image. I don't think they published that one. One of the squatties who says here, Beyonce and Jay-Z being bombarded by Brits paps in London, leaving C London restaurant. Brit media has refused to learn their lesson. These are the photos that were published. They didn't publish those two because that one looks too painful. So they shared this. Also, as I said yesterday, and I'm going to say it again, I have total confidence in Christopher Sanchez, is the head of security and former Secret Service agent. I bet he has a lot of connections and access to a wealth of advice in how they should approach security going forward. So Christopher Sanchez, who stepped out of the vehicle and put himself between the paparazzis, ever so politely, and the Sussexes. As you can see on the left side, a very younger Christopher Sanchez protecting President Obama, who happens to share the same birthday as Princess Meghan. And there he is on the right side in The Hague with the Sussexes. So I sleep better knowing that someone like that is nearby. Okay? I sleep much better knowing that the two of them are nearby, that he's nearby. And so, as I said yesterday, someone had alluded to there may have been, well, they didn't say they felt that way, but they said that that was the chatter, that there may have been some hooded figures, as a colloquium, hooded figures within the NYPD. I don't believe that either. If the report from the NYPD falls short, and I want you guys to be prepared for that, the report from the NYPD may get watered down by people who do not want to bring embarrassment to the city of New York. Not that they hate the Sussexes, but they don't want to embarrass the city of New York. So be prepared for the police accounts of things to get watered down for the sake of the city. That is not going to erode my trust in the Sussexes in terms of what happened. That is not going to cause me to blame the security. They trust this guy. President Obama has trusted this guy. He has been vetted by the United States Secret Service. And I'm pretty sure that when it comes to how these situations work out, that he vets the people that are going to be involved with them. And no doubt he is probably very close to the Sussexes, and he makes the command decisions to keep them safe. So if they do try to blame them, the security people, they did what they were supposed to do. They were overwhelmed by a pack of wolves, and that's just that. So yeah, I hope this has been helpful. If you guys are not ready, to whatever, if you're not ready, you're not ready. But I personally am not going to lose my humanity because of those monsters. CNN John Miller sources inside the New York Police Department confirmed there was a chase. Police had stopped traffic and get the couple to the precinct for a while to keep them safe. Miller said police described the chase as annoying, inappropriate, and dangerous. Now that is a quote from someone who was there. Right here, I lived in New York City for 2 decades. We don't have Diana level harassment paparazzi here at all. This is a coordinated hit squad that was out to set off a dire catastrophe for Harry, Meghan, and Doria. Whomever set this up deserves exposing. Amen to that. I don't know who that person is, but there you go. And so I was going to talk about this, but there it is. Queen's funeral cost 162 million pounds. I don't believe it. Bye. And on a positive note, and this is where we're going to end it today. Today is the birthday of Prince Alphonse Liechtenstein. Yes, Alphonse Maria something Liechtenstein. Today is his birthday. Prince Alphonse is the son of Prince Maximilian and Princess Angela of Liechtenstein. And today is his birthday. So happy birthday to Prince Alphonse. Anyway, you guys, I am done. Thank you so much. I'm going to just linger here for a little bit. He's 22 years old today. But yeah, if you stayed up late or something like that, please go and watch those other videos. I do thank you for being here, but I want you guys to take in some positive and reinforcing information, and please try to avoid listening to those haters because fatigue for our principles, for our faves, is what they are hoping for. He was born the 16th. 16th? Today is the 18th. Oh, well. Oh, no, that's the father. Oh, wow, the father's birthday. Okay, he was born, he's almost got the same birthday as his father. Wow, that's interesting. But no, that's not who I'm looking for. I'm looking for the son. How come I don't see the son? Yeah, I don't want Maximilian. They don't even have the kid listed on his on the father's what do you call it? They don't even have a Wikipedia for him. Isn't that something? Oh yeah, they do. They do have a wiki for him. That sounds weird, doesn't it? They do have a wiki for him. Actually, I don't think so. Okay, so let's go with Wiki. Anyway, who cares? He's a prince. He's biracial. I'm done with him. But yeah, so that is Prince Alphonse. Yeah, and that was the most recent photo of him I seen at his grandmother's funeral last year. All right, so let's get back to our faves. I'm going to close it out. Thank you so much, moderators, for keeping this a safe space. Thank you all for your very generous contributions to Royal Sussex. And also thank you for people who just signed up for new memberships. Greatly appreciate that. But I tell you, the sun is shining and I feel like I'm back. And I'm so glad to be back. I feel like I'm of more use for the Sussexes in this frame of mind than I was yesterday. Patricia Hightower, thank you so much for being here. I appreciate it. Anything that I said that was helpful, I am glad to know that. Let me see. Thank you, Pam Porter. To the Dilly. Yes, love wins. I think that's our word of the day. Love wins. Yes. Yes. Love wins. Doesn't she though? Oh yeah. Doria looks gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous. I loved her hair. I loved what she had on. Everything was just picture perfect. Yep. So that will do it for today. Again, we need to support Anita. She was there. Anita seen and heard a lot. Do you hear me? A lot. So please, I think the link is still at the top of the chat, or is it? No, it's not. But still, get over to Anita of My Duke and I, and please like, share, and subscribe. Excuse me. She was there. We heard her laughing in the background, and she was very thoughtful and very respectful to the Sussexes, to not share her joy of seeing them yesterday. And just like us, when she found out how terribly things went last night, she was deeply affected. And that was the person that I was thinking about the most, because I knew that this, that she was there, and how it affected her. I wasn't sure, but she's back. She's back, with caution, but she's back. So hopefully we'll all be back soon. So again, no judgment, no rush or anything like that. Whenever you feel like you are ready to move on from those events, please join us, because we need you. We need you. Okay, so with that, I am going to, of course, let me see, where are our queens? Where are our queens? So Diana, me personally, I'm not going to let what happened be forgotten. Diana has been just far too important to people in the world, as evident by the way people mourned her loss. And of course, for Doria, we are going to protect you. I promise you, we are going to protect you. So thank you very much to our queens. And yeah, so that is it for today. So I am going to cue the Ginger Avenger. Or maybe I tell you what. First, let's do Madam Duchess. Madam Duchess. We cannot let her not have her glory because that award was like a lifetime of accomplishment that was being recognized. So, Madam Duchess, it is. Well, I was looking for something I wanted to throw in there. I had thought about it today. I think I may do a reboot of it, perhaps. Let me think about that. But do you remember the video where Meghan's neighbor in Canada was speaking about what it was like to live next door to Meghan? Do you remember that? 1,135 people that I said goodnight to a while ago, and you all are still here. Y'all remember that? Huh? Since y'all still here, 1,100 and 1,109 people that I said goodnight to a while ago. I was trying to see if I could find that video. I don't see it. Oh man. Let me see. Oh well, I guess it wasn't meant to be. Why do I always do that? I think of that one more thing at the very end, and then I can't find it. I don't remember the name of it. It was something neighbor, wasn't it? But who are the people in the neighborhood? That's the question that I have been asking for a long time. Who are the people in the neighborhood? In the neighborhood. in the neighborhood. Oh, let me see. Joanne Baker is a person in the neighborhood. She's a person that you meet when you're walking down the street. She's a person that you meet each day. Now join in if you know the words. Oh, I'm not about to sing that. Okay, here it is. I found it.
She would be coming home late at night, and a couple of times I saw her, and I had a little. The RCMP guys were parked here, and I told them that they were free to park here because I knew what was happening there. Sometimes the paparazzis are a pain.
Yeah.
I said, you're free to park here, and as long as you leave me the space for me to come into my garage, I'm fine. And then about 3 or 4 weeks later, the RCMP guy said, I apologize for taking so much of your space and stuff. And I said, well, don't worry about it.
Yeah.
Jokingly, I said, Christmas is coming. Belgian chocolates will be nice. And she heard, she was in front of the RCMP guy, RCMP fellow, and said, chocolates. She came back. And then next morning, we saw a little bag with a gift from her for letting us park here. Very sweet, I think. But apart from that, we haven't exchanged other words. But she seems to be very nice.
Yeah.
She actually wrote me a little note saying thank you. Beautiful calligraphy.
Oh.
If she saw you, she say hello.
Yeah.
But otherwise, I believe, I guess being persecuted all the time, she learned better just to keep going fast. But the few times that I saw her, it was hello.
Yeah. And did you ever see Prince Harry here? Or?
Never had the chance. And you know what? I don't think I'm going to get invited to the wedding either.
Yeah. But a very nice girl, like being a good neighbor.
As from the way that she presented herself, she's lovely.
Yeah.
Because when I wrote back to her thank you note, and I said, if sometimes you're at loose ends, knock on the door. We have some wine in the garden.
Yeah.
But it never happened.
Yeah.
But anyway, we're trying to be friendly with neighbors and make them feel safe.
You're welcome.
That's it for now. Please like, subscribe, share, donate, etc. If you would like to make a donation a minute. You mean to tell me that I was muted the whole time? I'm just sitting up here talking and talking. Anyway, so yeah, that's what I said. But I again, Corinna Reina, I saw the comment that you made, and whatever you're feeling, we will be here for you. So thank you so much. Okay, so I am going to Ginger Avenger, and then I am gonna sort out dinner. I think I'll probably have the same thing I had last night: delicious mango chicken with mango ginger chicken and lemon rice. Oh my goodness, it was divine. It is like one of the best things I've ever had from the frozen food section. All right. Okay, yeah, not 9 minutes this time. Okay, you guys, see you. Love you guys, and I will see you guys tomorrow. And again, thank you for watching Royal Sussex. Now, cue Ginge Avenge, and we're out. I tried to say goodbye and I choked. I tried to wait a minute. How did that song go? Tried to walk away, but oh, never mind. Okay, see y'all.